Welcome to the Six-Figure Author Experiment, where we help you break through your first or next $100,000 goal. Parental discretion is advised. Now, let's get on with the show.
All right, well, welcome to the Six-Figure Author Experiment, live to tape in New Orleans. I mean, we're like in New Orleans right now for our conference.
Yeah.
We are live. We are alive.
Yes.
And we are in New Orleans together with Monica Leonelle, me, that's Lee Savino.
And Russell Nohelty. I'm actually pretty pumped still after 2 days, which is not normal for a convention. Like, I don't feel tired.
I was thinking about that too. Like, I feel like energized more than exhausted, which is very unusual for a conference. So, and I don't know why, because I'm often working other conferences, but like, and this one I am technically working it, but it just doesn't feel like heavy for me anyway.
That's
I don't
good.
know.
I think it's interesting that there was a thing that we attempted to do at this conference, which was redistribute the responsibility for helping others and helping them grow from like the organizers and the speakers and kind of like the main crew who are like the sponsors to more of everyone. It was really interesting. It was really interesting to see how I think it worked.
Yeah. I mean, I think it worked.
That's awesome. Well, as an attendee, I love this Mastermind portion, which allows for a lot of small group chatting or even one-to-ones that always leads to breakthroughs for me. So that's been awesome. And now you're going into the conference portion with all the vendors and
Yeah. And it's all new. So this is the first year that we're doing that. And we'll kind of see how it goes. Like, truthfully, like I keep saying that.
Well-
I keep setting those expectations. Like, we've tried to make it amazing, but like we've literally never done it before.
Yeah, I will say that I'm in conceptualizing this conference compared to the Mastermind. I feel like there's a much lower possibility to failure because it looks relatively like what other conferences look like. Like, there is a vendor day, like there are talks, there's like a track and general thing. I have seen all of the things for the conference, whereas like with the Mastermind, it was like, we're just gonna sit you in small groups and like, man, I hope you guys are all nice to each other. We're just gonna like fill it with cool people, and then we're gonna assume that those cool people can like ping pong between cool people. And I was a lot more nervous. I mean, also it was the first one that we had done last year, but also just like, well, these are people who like have high expectations. Like they are used to getting like top level service and paying top dollar for it. And like, this is a thing that I've literally never seen before. We had like a couple of talks, but it was mostly like just sit around and hang out with each other and try and unlock as many locks of yours and other people's as possible.
yeah, but my career's always moved forward from being in a small room with 6 people or so, and all of them at different stages of career, but all of them very focused on a career and being an author and being wildly creative and also really business savvy. Someone ends up opening their computer and showing you their dashboard and things really click. Like, Russell, you've been using the key and the lock metaphor. So you just find that person with the key, and it just happens to be the right key for the lock that you're trying to open. And magic happened. So I came fully expecting to be in a beautiful city on the river in a nice hotel with great food, because you guys made sure there was awesome food, which means that we're all hanging around and we're having those conversations in the Mastermind and by the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And then continuing it, there's a lovely like coffee shop area where we can sit with our computers, open our computers, show each other our dashboards, and get exactly the info we need to move. Just basically get our questions answered is what it is. You get your exact question answered by the person who is doing what you want to do. And that's always helped me.
I think there's like a deep potency in the Mastermind specifically, that it's really people who are deeper into their careers almost, and like interested in the edges of publishing and interested in new platforms and new opportunities. I think that is kind of part of the magic, is like it's people who every single person in the room could be speaking about some weird thing that they're doing, kind of counter to what the publishing playbook is right now. And so they're finding, and they may even they may be experimenting in that area. They may be making even just a small amount of money, or they may be making a lot of money, but like, it's like there's growth there. It's like a place of growth. And so then I think that's part of the magic, is that people are all doing different things. And so you can find, the next opportunity for yourself.
Yeah. And the people that come to the mastermind portion also tend to have had sustained success across like multiple books or multiple series for like at least a few years. Whereas like a conference could be anyone. So it's like harder to just turn to somebody that you like randomly met and be like, so who should I use to do X? Because that person, like, instead of saying, I'm sorry, I don't know, will almost always say, this is my opinion, even if it's wrong and even if I know it's wrong. It's this like idea of overwhelm, the bane of conferences. It's sort of this thing that's like, well, a lot of people come to the event, so you have to like cater to a lot of people. But in catering to a lot of people, you then have to rely on the speakers and the organizers and the sponsors and the people, because they're the only ones who are really like vetted in any way. If they, even if that is just like, well, they paid more money, so like they were like, I paid the conference organizer, so I should trust them to run a conference. So like, I guess this person is worthy of my time. And then you leave and you're like, 7 of these people said contradictory things about the exact topic. And I think that the hard thing is like, people have 7 million contradictory things about the same topic, and it almost always works in that case. But like, will it work for your ecosystem? Will it work for your Enneagram? Will it work in the way that you want to do business? And we've spent so long being like, this is the way to do business. And then anything you did outside of that, people were like, why are you doing all of these things? We do business this way. And we're just like finally getting to a point where you can do business the way that a lot of my friends outside of publishing do business, which is like, I want to start this new thing. I don't know. It seems fun, so I'm going to do it. I'm actually a little bit nervous to see, because the one thing I don't know is like, did all of the stuff that we planned to maneuver the mastermind to feel that like, have we pulled the right elements from the mastermind to keep the spirit from the mastermind into this other event, or are people going to leave it overwhelmed instead of empowered?
Yeah, I mean, and who knows? We just don't know yet, but it's exciting. I mean, I think we tried something new, so I think we'll see.
Yeah, we actually finally know how to talk about it after 2 years. That's nice.
Yeah, that was a long process.
So, Lee, so I came to this conference. I guess one of my locks was I have a Kickstarter coming. I assume we're going to do this when it's live. Like, I assume this is going to launch when it is live, but maybe it will not. But the book is called How to Thrive as a Writer in a Capitalist Dystopia. And it's kind of like part 1 of a thesis statement that I'm going to be making throughout the year. It's like the system is, I mean, frankly, it's working as intended. I can't even say that it's broken. I mean, every system is broken in some ways, but it's like, we have been talking in publishing about the symptoms of the problem, not like the cause of the problem. And so I wanted to write a book about sort of how can you take capitalism and like triangulate your place where like you could be like a happy little crumb, like doing the things you want, making money like the way you want, and like not feeling gross about it. But also like, capitalism is an operating system.
Yeah.
If your operating system is weighed down by all of these programs and things that are not working for you, and like they have a bunch of viruses and malware and like bloatware and all of that stuff, like you're going to be like, I hate Windows.
Capitalism.
right.
I hate capitalism.
Right. Instead of, I think that the real thing is like capitalism is just like, it's dumb. And like, but it is consistent. So like the thing about capitalism as a system is that it most closely mimics how humans actually behave, as opposed to thinking like communism or whatever other ism that you want. Like, it's really saying work in opposition to the way that humans exist in the world. And I don't like how humans exist. I don't like that, like, all of these things, our worst impulses are amplified. But if you kind of can come with that base, then really it's like, I think, one, authors have a sequencing problem, and two, more than they have like an information problem, and two, they think that capitalism will be logical instead of consistent. Like, what capitalism is like, it doesn't say 1 + 1 = 2. Could be potato plus donkey equals 2, but like, it will always be potato plus donkey equals 2. So like, you need to do that sort of translation work. And once you can just accept that it's not that people don't know, it's that it's an unknowable. If the universe is just like an unknowable, and capitalism is like an attempt to like put monetary value on that unknowability.
So I like capitalism because I like money and have always liked money, even though I had a lot of money blocks that I worked through. And I also was raised in it and I really understand it. So I feel safe in this system. It is not a utopia. Every time I look at communism, I'm like, that sounds great. It sounds like a utopia. That's not going to be how it happens in life. And a philosopher could probably argue differently, but I'm sitting here like, I don't know, guys. I look at, anyway, whatever. Let's talk about governments later. But I also love manifestation. And if you don't like the law of attraction and abundance woo-woo stuff, then let's just talk about your locus of control. What can you control? Because sometimes there's going to be a hurricane, and sometimes there's going to be a war or famine, and sometimes you're just going to have a bad day. But what can you control? And I want, I guess, to make my own little personal utopia so that I can, maybe I'm just living in delusion, though. Monica, can you weigh in on this?
I mean, I'm with you. Like, I love capitalism too in many ways. And I see that I think people say like, but it's not a perfect system. And it's like, well, no system's a perfect system. But like, I feel like we want to throw out a lot of capitalism because parts of it are dirty. And I think actually like every path to money has like, it like you have to walk through mud on some level. And I think people kind of villainize that when in reality, like, you just wash your shoes. I just think that, yeah, like if you till the earth, you are going to slice through a worm at some point. But does that mean you don't grow food? I struggle to be a farmer or like a gardener because I don't like to kill worms. And I'm not saying like, I feel like this is such a tough topic because like, I'm certainly not saying like, I'm not trying to make any parallels to like human. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, we can just kill human. Like, no, and it's such an awkward topic, but like, yeah, like there are some challenges to capitalism and there's probably some reform of capitalism, but like, I don't even know if we should go here, but like we talk about billionaires and like defunding billionaires, and it's like, we literally have the power to defund billionaires. Like, we don't need the government to do it. We literally just like tank their stock, like vote with your money. Yeah.
Vote with your dollar.
Vote with your dollar. Like, you can literally defund a billionaire today. And if enough of us do it, then they are defunded. And so it's like, that system actually kind of works, right? Like, that works. And so I just, I think that we have a lot more power within capitalism. And I think a lot of people, like, when we say we hate capitalism, it's really like we feel powerless.
Right.
And like, we actually like, and even this event, it's like, I feel like we have so much, it's the same with publishing. Like, I feel like we have so much power in publishing, but like, we got to work with companies that are like fueling the growth of publishing. I feel like this event is not really about capitalism, but like it's founded in a lot of the things that Russell talks about in his book, that you're talking about, Lee, and that we're doing here, and like the way we've structured this conference.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so I then took this book and I ran it through ChatGPT, this new deep research, and said, please make a workbook from this book that will be effective at making people understand. Because one of the things is, okay, so if capitalism is an operating system, an operating system can be used in specific ways to advance your aims, but like you can't use a computer to till the earth, just like you can't use a shovel to like eat a taco. Like you just like there's like what I've been trying to do with this book. I'm trying to do with this workbook, which is the first workbook that I've ever put together, is what if you just understood how the operating system works and like could use it to influence your happiness? Because you can't use an operating system to influence your happiness if like you might randomly find a way to money or to success, like just by poking around. But like you really got to that success because like the operating system is working as intended. You are working in chaos and like not structured in any way. You just like then happened upon this path that the operating system like actually uses. And you're like, wow, it was magic. And like, but then your next book series or the next book in your series is like tanks. And you're like, this is chaos. And it's like, well, like if you knew the line, if you knew how the system worked, you could like actually write more books, more from your heart, because you would just be able to look and see, okay, this is going to increase the money that my potential of my book. This is going to decrease it. And like, that's okay. I can write a donkey book. I can write a book that like I love, that doesn't really work, that doesn't really make sense, that like, you know, it's kind of cute. And like, man, it's trying hard to be whatever thing that it is. But I would then know, well, there is no reasonable expectation that this book should make a lot of money. Maybe it will, but like it probably will not. But you can still make that decision. You can still say, well, I'm okay having a down month because when I launched this book, because for the previous 3 months, I went to my Killer Diller series and like it made more money than I ever had before. But like, if you don't understand that, like the ways that the system works and how it can work for you, it's like impossible to write that book of the heart because you don't know how to, like, you're so caught up in just getting to where you have to go and however, we're like the chaos of it that you're like, I'm just going to write the next, I don't know, what's the next thing? Like, what's the next thing that's hot? Oh, and if you're a desert or a grassland, maybe you can be like, yeah, this is the trend and hit it. But most people can't see that trend and hit it. So they're like, I don't know what's going to come. Fairies are hot now. And then 6 months later, it's like, I thought the fairies were hot. Now it's like lumberjacks and now it's this. And so you're just doing all this stuff, writing books you don't actually want to write because you don't understand and are out of alignment with the system. And this workbook that is coming along with the thing was my kind of attempt to do this thing that Lee taught me yesterday, which is
after the workbook was made.
After the workbook was made, I didn't know I was doing this. Which is like I didn't know this was how the operating system worked. But then it's like, oh shit, that is everything that I'm trying to do. Which is in education, they do I do, you do, we do. And so like an I do is like, I wrote a book. This is how I did the book. Like a we do is like a RPG game or like a community or like if 10 people did this workbook together to like do, but like
Well, even like the two of you are doing this workbook together, basically, because like you did it asynchronously by writing it, and then Lee did it asynchronously by like writing in it.
Right.
I just want to say that I'm on like page 10, okay?
No, she's done.
But I have gotten a lot out of it, and I think because it is really going back to the locus of control. Like, what can you control being in a capitalist system, you having to use this operating system, but you just sit down and you grab the mouse and you're like, you know what? I can still write a book. Like I can make this, I can figure this out. For a lot of authors, I think, and we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, is getting off the Amazon KU treadmill. And you guys have made a career out of talking about like not just feeding Amazon the next, and throwing everything into KU. And you have very lovely long book series on all of that. But the workbook is helping me figure out, where is my energy? What, which I can control. Like, what am I focusing on? Unfortunately, it's a lot of doom scrolling lately, which is why I've been crying more and writing less. But who has the power? I actually have the power. And remembering that, and I started to fill out the energy time journal and go, okay, if I spend time doom scrolling, that puts my energy, that's like a negative million. But if I talk to other authors on a 10 out of 10 scale, it's a plus 10. Like it really fills me up. So coming to this was a good investment of time, even though I hate leaving my house. And doing the podcast is a great investment of time, even though I tend to do that thing where you're like, well, I'm going to write more. I'm going to do more of my productive to-do list things. So I'll cut out the things that are actually filling my well. Like some high input authors will be like, well, I read too much. I need to write more. So I'll cut the number of books I'm reading in half. And then they kill their creative output, I learned. So you double the number of books you're reading. And then you just fill the well so much you're writing from the overflow. And the same, in the last 3 months, I was like, I'm too busy to do a podcast. But if this thing is filling my well, and doing this little journal exercise in a cute coffee shop in New Orleans helped me figure out, you're killing your creative output when you cut this out of your life, thinking you're saving time, but really all you do is take that time and doom scroll.
Yeah. So I was talking to somebody, one of the locus of why I did this was, I think it was NINC. It was some conference last year. We were talking about the things that you should be doing to like be successful. And someone was like, I really like gardening. I know it's a waste of time. And I was like, say more things about that. And she's like, well, like, I feel like I get my best work done after I've like sat in a garden for an hour and I can have the more productivity. It's like, so like you want to cut out a thing that like makes you happy and also makes you more productive. So, and I would say like, you should double that thing, and maybe you do one session in the morning or in the afternoon, because then you're more productive because you only have like a max of 4 hours of productivity in a day, unless you like really push it, and then you will eventually burn out.
Well, I was just thinking about working out. It's like, oh, I'll skip my workout today, so I'll get more done. No. That hour actually moves the blood to my brain out of my legs. For the gardener, that might be relaxing her nervous system enough that she can create. I know, Monica, you do a lot of like abundant stuff, but it's also, we're not machines. We're not robots working in the capitalistic factory. We are human. And that's where I think the disconnect comes from. We're trying to be creative people with a heartbeat into a system that really wants a robot that works 24/7.
Yeah, and I think that's painful. I think that's why so many of us have really left the workforce. And like you see all this stuff where it's like creativity is actually an act of resistance to capitalism. But I think you're right. Like creativity, it doesn't have to be. Like it's only an act of resistance because of the way we think about it. Like it's actually that like there could be harmony, I think and I think that's what this book is about. I think that's what the three of us really believe is that there can be harmony for a creative in capitalism, but for so long the two things have really been pitted against each other. And I think a lot of creatives do on some level hate capitalism and have like some of that at least in their energy field. And like our work is to like deprogram that.
Well, keep the things that are terrible about it. Like,
Yeah.
because like once a week, I'll look at something and be like, that's dumb, man. Capitalism is dumb for rewarding this thing. I know why it's popular, but like, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
And like, you can have both things, and like, and you have to. Like, part of being an adult and a successful adult is like holding multiple things in your head at once and being able to move forward. It's that old saying, like Thomas Edison did everything by candlelight until he found a light bulb, like until electricity. Like you have to use the means. Like Henry Ford.
So he created the light bulb, or Tesla invented it for him, and he stole the idea.
That's where I tried to equivocate that statement. But the same thing with like Henry Ford, like rode to Ford on a horse until like he made a car. And it's like, so like, man, whether you like capitalism or not, like it's what we got.
Actually,
and
I do like this because Henry Ford forced his engineers to invent the car, right? The engine. But in today, I am writing the books. I'm extracting value from myself. So that's harder in some ways, but also I have way more control. And I really that's why I like capitalism, because I like being a mom and pop small business.
Right.
I don't really have a legacy business. I have a livelihood business where it's for my family, and the money coming in goes to benefit them. And that is my huge why. Right. The reason I make so much is because I support several members of my family. So it was on me as the eldest child to do that. And I don't know. I guess I like capitalism because I think of all the mom and pops out there, and I'm one of them. And yeah, Amazon is gross in a lot of ways, and it's not perfect, but it's also given me a ton of freedom. So I mean,
it made all of our careers.
It made all of our careers.
Didn't have this industry without Amazon.
So I guess I come to it with but I have a lot of control. I'm saying yes to Amazon now, and I'm also building my direct store, but I couldn't have done that when I started. When I started, I did the easy mom option. You write a book, you upload it to KU. I didn't even have print books. I didn't have the time to order a cover, but I loved writing. So just harnessing the system for you and being like, okay, I am choosing.
Right.
And moving forward.
And I think that's why we have so many companies here, because there's so many choices. But this is also why I like when someone is like vehemently anti-AI in any way. I say, well, but I am writing because of AI currently. Like I got brain fog after COVID. I just can't hold these things. And it allows me to do things with my books. It allows me to do these workbooks. It allows me to create an RPG. And I think that what I like about AI is a lot of just things that no one talks about in AI. And you can use deep research to not do deep research and use it to make a workbook. And I know you can, because I've now done it 3 times, including this morning. You can use it to add all of your podcast episodes and create transcripts of those podcast episodes and use that to draft a book about a thing that you did. You can put your course elements up there and same thing. And there are elements of this book. There's a boundary statement that I was like, damn. I kind of want to go back and put this in the book because it really wasn't in the book. But I was like, oh, I really do need that. It's true. Boundaries are a part that I played a big role in a previous book, but not necessarily did not have the same role in this book. But it is good to keep coming back to the energy, energetically. Do you have the stress for this? Do you have the energy for this? What is if you have a boundary statement, you can ask, you can say it to yourself every morning, or like every time there's like a boundary you think should be crossed, or any time like it becomes this like you do consistently over and over and over, and you think through the thought process. So what I really like about the workbook is it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like me giving you a coaching session, like, but like you are just filling, like you said, asynchronously.
Yeah, it's at scale, right? It's
Right.
a coaching session at scale, which is what I think works for you and me specifically. Like we just like that's why we write books and all these things to begin with. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I think it gets people to a certain place, and then if they want to buy like a real coaching session, they can. But
Yeah.
I think about this conference, and I think about like there's all these companies here, and I mean people will complain all the livelong day about like all the big tech in publishing, and all the biggest companies in publishing and how they have no power with them. And it's like there's all these companies that are like trying to, I don't know if disrupt is the right word, but they're trying to like listen to us and like
Well, all the big companies were small companies at one point. So now we have this new crop.
Yes.
My biggest problem with capitalism is that it cannibalizes itself. You actually need a lot of regulation. I guess I am talking about governments now. You need a lot of regulation. Otherwise, you get monopolies.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, capitalism doesn't work. It eats itself.
Right.
But when you have regulation to stop monopolies, they broke up. They did the antitrust lawsuits for Microsoft. Facebook came out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Google came out of that. Like we got a lot of good stuff out of it, even though, those are now dumpster fires. But what's the next crop? And they're small companies, and they might make different choices. They might make better choices.
Yeah, and like for the publishing industry, we finally have those companies. Like,
yeah,
I think
they're coming.
We're like, they're here, and like we can talk to them, and they're still listening to us, and like they can go get VC funding.
And I think it's great because it's like Amazon did this, and then it took us a couple years to figure out what was broken about the system that they were creating. So now those companies exist because their response to the problems. But that takes 10 years.
It does.
Right.
But like in that way, capitalism is not totally broken. Like the system does work on some level.
Right.
I do think I agree with you.
With powerful antitrust law.
Yeah, I was like, some government regulation helps to keep the monopolies from bulldozing everything in the process.
We want the mom and pops.
Like, for instance, did you guys see the Stripe thing yesterday? So like Stripe is now they charge you $15 if someone else does a dispute, but now if you countersuit, they charge you another $15 that you only get back if you win. So it's like these are the things that you couldn't do on January 19th that you can now do on January 20th, past January 20th, because of like government specifically. I told them the end of the closing remarks yesterday, I said like, I will go to every printing company I can find and ask them when they will start doing tip-ins for POD books. And like, that's just like, it will, and I do that because like, it will influence them to do it if enough people do.
This.
I love it. I just spent all morning figuring out like book plates so I can just sign a ton and I'm going to have to mail them out separately.
Right. Well, and you can now, Book Vault told me that they will do book plates for your, for inside your book yesterday. They also, and if you're doing offset, you can do both tip-ins and book plates. So like you could do all sorts of things, fun things if you're using offset stuff. That means you don't have to engage in, because for me it's an accessibility issue. Like it's really hard for me to get the books and then print them and ship them. And like by the time it gets to the point of me signing them, like am I gonna ship them to my fulfillment house then, or no? I'm probably not. So it would like allow me to have more things printed and such. But I will there's this new company called Meta Label that is like a crowdfunding platform, but like it's like a collaborative crowdfunding platform. So like it's like Bundle Rabbit meets Kickstarter. And I've been like, hey, I'd like to talk to you. Right? And like, there's like 5 people at that company. And like, I finally got a meeting with one of the founders. Cause I was like, I made like $1 million on Kickstarter. I would like to see if there's a way to use your platform. And like, there's plenty of stuff. We talked about this years ago, but we have seen changes to platforms that came about within weeks of us saying something to them. You're like, oh, look at this thing. And it's like, I don't care about getting the credit for it. I care that it exists because like, then I can have more control over the things that I need to control.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think like what people don't understand about these companies is like, if you talk to them, they will make you more money. Like they just will. Like you need to talk to them though, and you need to like, so anyway.
Yeah, that's why I like conferences.
Yeah.
The biggest thing about conferences is you can have sit downs. I mean, the best ones, this one, you can have one-on-ones with the retailers, the new companies, and you get on their calendar, you get their attention, and you get the contract, and you move it forward. And yeah.
And I think like, especially with platforms, like this is true for service providers too, because the good ones fill up very quickly, but like they can, like they've already done the equation of like, they can make you money or else they wouldn't be good. So it's like, why wouldn't you want to be in a system where you give money and they make you more money than what you gave them? Like, and like, that's how a good service provider works already. But it's the same with a platform. Like every platform in an algorithm driven world needs bestsellers on their platform. And like, if you are one of the first people there, or if they like you or they engage with you, like you get to be that bestseller. And I'm just like always blown away by how, I think authors are kind of like, I don't want to be sold to. I don't want to talk to these companies. Like, I just want to do whatever. And it's like, they don't want to play kind of this game of capitalism, and like they're missing some part of like how capitalism works. But like, this is how capitalism works,
and how it works for you, because because capitalism works for other people, but it can work for you if you like the cheat code is really every time we say book a meeting, 6 people book a meeting out of 50,000. And or like less than that. And like, this is a consistent, like every time my wife is like, hey, we're looking for research people, like 3 people reach out, and it's like, and then suddenly the 3 people that do like are like catapulted, and you're like, wow, it's like nobody takes advantage of the opportunity. And after talking with tons of vendors, like
hundreds,
like we've talked to like hundreds of vendors, like their main thing is like, how can I help serve authors better? And that's what I want to do. And I want to work with people who are going to proselytize that my stuff is good. And I am incentivized to make you more money because I want you to proselytize me more. Like Oriana said, I was like one of the best ambassadors on Kickstarter. I'm like, of course I am. Like, you made me $1 million. Like, please, like I love you. And like, you made $1 million and you only took 5%. Like, it's like a dream scenario. It's like a dream scenario for me.
It's like, I made you $50,000. You made me $1 million. Like, that's like insane, actually.
Woohoo!
I mean,
yeah. Gotta love this company.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild. I do want to say, because the thing about our conference is about keys and locks. And like, I want to just end with saying that this whole talk, this workbook is about like, hopefully you find a key that unlocks something inside of you to take your career to the next level. And that's what we normally spend time talking about, is the process of unlocking the lock. But you get to keep the key. And the key is often more useful over time than it ever was unlocking your lock. You might think about, what keys do you have that you unlocked your own issues years and years and years ago, or days and days and days ago? You may not think that key has value still because it was used once, but like, they're brass. Like they don't, like, you put them in a little box, or you sort through them, and then you can use them with other people. You can use them, you can try them all on the locks you still have whenever a lock comes up. But like, we don't think like that. often. And so like I would urge you, like as you think on this episode, assuming you will ever think on this episode again, not just about the locks you have, but about the keys you have that you may not have tried on your locks because you're like, oh, I already answered that question. But like old keys can open new locks a lot of the time, and they can open locks for other people. And if you can help other people get that lock opened, then you can all grow as a community faster.
I love that. I spent the conference referring people to my VAs.
Same.
And I realized today that they could be doing more tasks for me that I have just taken on my to-do list. So, okay. You both are keys for my locks. So I really appreciate y'all. Thank you for running this mastermind and conference. And thank you for having me have a podcast with you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming. Monica, any final words?
Just thank you to you both. You both unlock all of my keys. So
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. For more, head on over to sixfigureauthorexperiment.com for archive access, resources, and more. We'll see you next time.